everybody, welcome back to a hot day in Florida. This is Memorial May, and we are going around my town of Melbourne, Florida, looking for historical markers and learning more about the town where I live. Today we are going to a place called the Union Cypress Railway. It's on a road that stretches between West Melbourne and the next town over, which is called Palm Bay. I don't know much about it because I'm not really up to speed on Florida's extensive railway history, but I am excited to learn more, and I hope you enjoy this video with me. Today's adventure brings us down Hollywood Boulevard in West Melbourne, a road that takes you from Melbourne towards the next town south called Palm Bay. This here is called Tallwood Park, and it is the home to the historical marker that we are looking for that marks a site of the Union Cypress Railway. In the early 1900s, Melbourne, Florida was almost completely isolated from the interior of the state. Most available transportation was up and down the coast, and that was only by rail or steamboat. Cars were just beginning to appear, but the roads were just old wagon trails, very sandy and often flooded. To get to the interior of the state from Melbourne, travelers had to cross a 6-mile-wide floodplain and ford a river or use a hand-operated ferry. The nearest railroad or highway crossing of the St. Johns River was miles away. In 1912, the Union Cypress Company built and operated a 3-story double-band sawmill in Deer Park, which is located today in West Melbourne. The mill contracted to log all the hardwood in the Hopkins Tract, which was a vast area of marshland, grassland, and timber. A stand of virgin cypress called the Jane Green Swamp provided huge cypress resources. The mill was the first big employer in Melbourne, with about 300 men working inside the mill and another 200 working out in the timber. The mill also brought the first electric power to the city, provided by the mill's power plant. A small logging company town was built at the mill site and was named after the sawmill owner, George Hopkins. They had a post office, a boarding house, medical facilities, a church, a theater, and a park with a swimming pool. The company built a private railroad called the Union Cypress Company Railway westward from a connection with the Florida East Coast Railway and across the St. Johns River to Deer Park, where George Hopkins and the sawmill were located. Branch lines fanned out into the bald cypress swamps where the logging operations were based. The Union Cypress Railway was an 18.5-mile-long standard gauge railway built to carry logs from the large cypress and pine holdings of George Hopkins, located directly west of Melbourne in Deer Park, to the Union Cypress Sawmill just south of Melbourne. 2 new and 7 used steam locomotives would eventually ride the 50-pound rails, crossing the St. Johns River on a 2,850-foot wooden trestle south of Lake Sawgrass. This was the first direct route across the St. Johns River for 80 miles of enterprise, preceding the Kissimmee Highway, which is now U.S. Highway 192, by 6 years. Travel from Melbourne to Kissimmee was cut down to only 53 miles compared to the previous 128 miles by rail or 153 miles by road. The railway opened up the vast prairie lands along the St. Johns River for settlement and carried much of the regional commerce, such as cut timber, naval stores, livestock, and farm produce, as well as people and the material of their daily lives. Trains ferried automobiles across the marsh on flat cars when floods closed the Kissimmee Highway. In February of 1919, most of downtown Melbourne burnt to the ground in a fire. In August of that same year, the sawmill caught fire and was destroyed. Melbourne was without power for 4 months until the electricity could be obtained from the nearby town of O'Galley, about 5 miles to the north. Construction on a new fireproof mill was begun but never completed. In 1924, the company received a contract to provide lumber for the first bridge between Titusville and Merritt Island, but the company shut down in 1925 after George Hopkins died. The Foshee Manufacturing Company took over operations in March of 1928 and rebuilt the railway and the St. John's Trestle. Operations continued until 1932, when a decline in the lumber market during the Great Depression caused the mill to shut down completely. The mill, buildings, and railway were all torn down and sold off in 1932. Some supports from the old trestle across the St. Johns River still remain to this day, as do a few of the old company buildings at the Melbourne end of the track. Guys, that's all I have to say about the Union Cypress Railway, but I did want to go ahead and show you the rest of this park. So for about the next 6 minutes, we're just going to walk around and enjoy some nature together, look for some birds. Keep your eyes peeled for alligators. I didn't see any, but who knows? They're in every body of water in Florida. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the video in about 6 or 7 minutes. hot one. I hope you enjoyed that hike. I wasn't expecting to get to walk around so much at this place, but it's such a nice little park. You probably saw there were some other people out here walking their dogs, so I felt plenty safe being in this park all by myself. But I really enjoyed learning about the historical marker. If I remember, editing Julie will put in some bloopers at the end, including where I conked my head on the marker trying to get a good selfie for the thumbnail. So thumbs up this video for the egg that is developing right here on the back of my head. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. I've had a great time, and I am off to find another marker. See you guys another day in another video.